Hi, I'm Tam. This is Untold Stories Behind the Smile. I'm here today with Mary Hennings, mother of two sons lost to gun violence, then 19-year-old Alvin Hennings, and then 35-year-old Michael Hennings. Hello, Ms. Hennings.
I'm Tam.
Thank you for joining us today. Let's start off by talking about Michael. No, we're going to start with Alvin. Tell us about the day Alvin was born. Let's go back to what happened.
The day Alvin was born. Oh, wow. So, I had just gotten out the tub. My mother had cooked meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and I think some string beans. So I wanted some more to eat. I heated me up something to eat, took me a bath, have my plate ready. I get out the tub and I feel this water run down. I wipe it off. And some more water ran. I went in there and I told my mother, she was in the living room laying on the couch. I stood over and I said, Mama, water running down my leg and I don't know what to do. I wiped it off and it keeps coming. She jumped up off that couch and rushed me to St. Mary's Hospital. She broke her ankle. She told them, it's a Catholic hospital. So, they give you a choice, either the mother or the child. And my mother said they better not let her daughter die. Because I could have another child. She couldn't get another. But fortunately, we both were all right. And that same day, this woman had gave a 12-pound baby boy. He was so long, his legs was hanging over the thing. But I checked Alvin out, everything, fingers and toes, and I was a young mother. I was 14 when I had Alvin. So I checked his little nose. That was the only thing I seen that shouldn't have been there. A lot of little yellow bumps, but they eventually went away. He was so handsome to me. My first love, my first true love.
So Alvin was your firstborn.
Yes, he was my firstborn.
Before we talk about Alvin, you yourself were a victim of gun violence. Is that correct?
Yes, after Alvin, but before Michael.
It was after Alvin and
Yes.
before Michael.
5 months.
5 months
Before Michael.
before Michael. Right, let's go to September 27th. 1989. Tell me how that day started from your remembrance.
Well, that day, I had this real eerie-like feeling. I can't explain it, but I felt like something was going to happen. So I went over on Belt, where my mother lived, and Alvin wasn't there, so I called myself waiting. I waited mostly all of that day, and he never came. So I went home, and I was asleep. And my mother called me, and she said, "He's dead, Mary. He's dead. I'm going to get my son." She didn't say his name, but I knew who she was talking about. And I woke my other two kids up. I said, "Get up, hurry up, get up, put your clothes on. Hurry up, put your clothes on and grab your shoes. If they're not on, you can put them on in the car." And I got them in the car and I was crying. I didn't want to tell them that I thought their brother was gone. Michael was still, he was back there just that look, like confused look when Kim kept asking me, "What's wrong, Mama? What's wrong?" And I'm saying to God, "Please don't let it be. Please don't let it be." I never told them. Then we got on Belt and nobody was there. My mother's front door was wide open. So I go in the house and I check and nobody's in the house. And I leave out and I'm getting in my car and my mother pulled up behind me and told me to follow her to Boynes Hospital. So I followed her to Boynes Hospital. We in the hospital. And I'm asking these people if my son is here. They're not answering me. So I don't know what my mother is saying, but this nurse is following me, asking me for insurance papers and all of this. And I'm asking her, "Is that my son? Why would I give you some information on my son and you not telling me if this is him or not?" So eventually, she left me alone, and they took us in this room, and I see Alvin laying on this gurney, and the only place blood was coming from his eye, like red tears just dripping on the floor. His body was warm. I felt like he tried to stay alive until I got to him. His body was sweaty wet and still warm. I knew it was him when I walked through the door because his feet, he's kind of slew-footed, so when he was laying there, his feet, you know, they went apart. And I just rubbed him from his foot all the way up to his head, and I felt him. And I remember this guy at the hospital on the telephone saying, yeah, man, he dead, man. I'm asking him, who are you? Who are you? Because I felt he was talking about my son. It was two of them. But he never did tell me nothing. And it was just so much going on. And that's all I remember about that night. And then, you know, tears. And I was just discombobulated. I couldn't think. I'm trying to figure out who killed my son. Who would do this to my son, you know. It had to be somebody that he knew that was close to him, because the car window on the passenger side was let down. They killed him up by the Rose Lounge, right off Natural Bridge, in between where the Southwestern Bell Telephone Company is, in that little street on the side of what was then the Rose Lounge. And I believe he kept his foot on that brake so the car wouldn't roll down, because it was on a hill, so it wouldn't roll down into traffic, killing somebody. I mean, that boy, he had a heart, didn't he? To think about other people's lives, and here he is dying. I guess he tried to put it in park, but his strength wasn't. So whoever that was that shot him, they let that window down. This is my thoughts before I even seen his body. So they shot him in the corner. It went through the crease of his eye, and I'm like, because I talked to the medical examiner, they said the bullet went up, then it went down. So he had to, this is my thoughts, damn man, they shot me. And his head went forward on the steering wheel. And for it to lodge in his throat, he had to come back on the headrest, and that it lodged in his throat. That's what they told me. So to see if I was right, I looked at his hand to see if there was blood, and there was blood on his hand. So I guess, is that a mother's instinct or something? God had to show me all of this. So, you know, I was right about that. And then we go on with the film. Never found out who killed him for sure, but they were saying like somebody he knew, one of his so-called friends, you know, did this to him. It had to be somebody close to be in that car with him, let that window down, get out, call his name, and then shot him. He had a gun in the car with him. They tell me somebody switched guns on him. And he gave him a Owlhead 32, and it jammed, so he couldn't shoot back at whoever shot him. So then, 25 years later, this is Al.
This is Al. Can you describe something, if you can remember some of?
So this is Alvin when he was, it's the portrait that was taken, and I had it fixed up after he passed, you know, the graphics. And this was Alvin when he was crowned King of Arlington School. This is me when he was a little baby, sitting in the chair at Mama's house. Alvin was crowned King of Arlington School, the first and the last. Nobody else has ever been crowned, and it's no longer a school, it's an apartment building.
That's right.
So this is Alvin, me picking him up from juvenile.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And this is him just before that happened to him at my grandmother's funeral. She had passed February the 13th of 89. And then other pictures, he had went on the Yeah, that was the president, the vote we had.
Oh,
that
yeah.
time, yeah. So,
So it's 9 years later, still grieving the loss of your oldest son, Alvin. And you're met yourself with gun violence.
yeah, it was 25 years
It was,
after.
that's right, it was
25 years after Alvin, Michael was murdered. So 5 months before Michael was
Okay.
murdered, I was shot. I was going to get married that day to this guy. And I kept asking the Lord to show me if it was meant for me to marry him or not. So I happened to be over. Michael was going to be my witness. He was going to be one of my witnesses for me getting married. And he was procrastinating. And he kept saying, I got to use it. I got to use it. Said he had to do number 2. I'm like, go on in the house, boy. Use the toilet so I can go on and go. So he in the house. This guy and his brother had something. I know. I told Michael, where this boy come from? He all of a sudden he coming over your house. All this, that, and the other. He calls me, Miss Hennings, come outside and get this phone charger for Michaela. He said he was going to get her a phone charger for her iPhone. And I couldn't understand, well, why couldn't bring it in the house? So I went on out there, get the charger, the cord, charge cord. I'm going back up the steps and I felt impact, boom, and I'm like, what the? I didn't hear the gunshot until after I was hit. I couldn't move. I tried to pull myself up on the porch to hide behind the bricks, but I couldn't move. It felt like the house was sitting on my leg as I was going up the steps. The bullet hit me in my inner thigh. And since I couldn't move, I just laid down on the steps. So I'm like this. So if I'm like this, you know, my eyes are gonna look like they're closed. And I'm watching this guy the whole time. I'm watching him and I'm talking to God and I'm asking him, God, I know you're not gonna let me down this very street you stopped me from killing somebody on. And I'm like, and God, is he ever gonna run out of bullets? Because I see him with a, I thought was a Uzi. Somebody said in the police report a MAC-10, but they look similar.
Okay.
A MAC-10 and an Uzi. I Googled it after I got out of the hospital. But he had an extended clip. That sucker was so long, I'm like, is he ever gonna run out of bullets? So all I can do is look at him while I'm laying on the steps. I'm trying to call for my son. He didn't hear me. He in the bathroom, you know, and then his friend. So it was 3 people that I could remember standing outside. It was my little brother, my godson, and a friend of theirs standing out on the sidewalk talking when the guy pulled up. I'm watching him rolling. He's shooting, rolling, and stopped in front of Michael's house, and he just kept shooting. He just kept shooting. And so I'm seeing this blood gushing out my leg. I'm like, I need my son. So the guy just kept shooting, and make a long story short, I seen him go down Belt, and he made a right on Cobrea. It's a one-way street, and he made a right, and I heard him come through the alley behind Michael's house. They did 2 more shots, and then they left. And then I had told my godson to give me all. After they left, he took his shirt off, made a tourniquet, and tied it around my thigh. And then he got me up on the porch, laying flat on the top of the porch. And I said, go get my son. And he went and got Michael. I'll never forget Michael's face. He was looking at the doorway, looking down on me. My baby thought I was gone until I opened my mouth and said, get me off this porch. And I seen him with a thing in his hand. He dropped that and pulled me off the porch. I told him to they didn't call the police. I don't know who called, but it took a long time for him to come. And when he got there, he asked me, did anybody fire back? No, nobody fired back. I wish they had, because they would have been gone, because they was right there at the house. But my stepfather came down there. My mother sent him down there. Somebody had told him I had got shot, and came down there to look and see. And I called my daughter. She didn't answer the phone, so I texted her, Kim, I got shot. And that was that. And 5 months later, they killed my baby.
April 2014.
No,
5
yeah,
months.
April the 2nd, 2014.
April 2nd.
We had a on Marvin Gaye's birthday.
Marvin Gaye's birthday.
Yeah, we
And
had
Michael's your youngest child.
child, yes. He was so handsome, little bitty baby. That's him as a baby. That's him as a baby eating on a chicken bone. Had to teach the boy how to eat chicken because he left the meat on each end and just ate around in the center. You know, this is something that he has said. So let me tell you about that day. So it was close to school being let out, and I would call him to be waiting on Michaela to get off the bus because she would get off the bus at Belt and Coperia and go over to her father's house. And so, you know, I was always telling her, be careful, pay attention to your surroundings, and him too, you know. And my stepfather called me. I remember what Let's Make a Deal had just came on. I was getting ready to take a nap till she got off the school bus. So my stepfather called and I could barely hear him. I heard him say my name, but I'm like, I can't hardly hear you. What you say? He said, Mary, brace yourself. I'm like, brace myself for what? He said, because it was gunshots and Michael and that girl not getting out the car. So I tried to hurry up. Now I'm shot now. I had been shot and I could barely move, but I tried to move as fast as I could, put some clothes on. Really didn't care what I looked like to get out that house. Had struggled to the car to get around there. And when I got around there was so many people. Now, where all these people come from? Because Daddy told me that he flagged the police down. You know, and Michael tried to get out the car because the door was cracked. But he wasn't Superman, for real. He wasn't faster than that speeding bullet. You know, and they shot him up, him and her. And I asked Lieutenant Green who was shot first, and he said the girl was. I was told that I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I was told that it took her head off in the back seat, put it in the back seat of the car. I heard she had a closed casket. Now when I called about Michael, you know, they wouldn't let me see my son. And then, so I stayed at his house the whole time until I put him away. And God woke me up and said, Mary, go get your baby before he turned into a raisin. My eyes popped open. I sat on the side of the bed. I called my daughter. And I called down to the medical examiner's office and they told me I could come then. So when I got down there, I had called my sister and she brought her daughter, her husband, and two of her daughters, the little girl and another daughter. And I believe that's the reason they still didn't let me identify my son's body. Detectives said they didn't want me to see him like that. But when the mortician, the undertaker, got his body, he said, I don't know, wasn't nothing wrong with him where he could have an open casket. You know, I don't know why they told you that. I don't know either. I'm just going by what they told me. They didn't want me to see him like that. So I figured, you know, they'd had me thinking my baby just all tore up because they shot him up with the AR-15, both of them. So up close, they just messed him up. And bullets went everywhere. I couldn't finish reading an autopsy report because of tears. I couldn't stop crying. And so we put him away.
How would you describe Alvin and Michael growing up before the teen years?
But Alvin, I think Alvin was a soul in rebellion because his father and I was splitting up. And his daddy done told him he was the man in the house, so he gonna be the man in the house, you know. he was getting in a lot of trouble, and I believe that was due to our divorce. You know, the girl, I didn't really have too much of a problem out of her. She was pretty much quiet about it. And Michael, he really didn't know because he was a baby, so he wouldn't have had too many memories of his daddy being there. But Alvin and Kim would.
And what about
Michael never went to Alvin went to juvenile, but he never went to jail then. I guess they killed him at 19, so you know, I think he would have learned. I think he would have learned from those mistakes. And Michael first off didn't get a whoop until he was over 6 years old. He never went to juvenile. One time I whooped him. This is funny. You know the things you close the blinds with.
Right.
Yeah. So I would take that up and whoop him with it at 2 or 3 licks. Well, I don't know who called the police, but the police was gonna take me to jail. So I told him, Mr. Officer, before you take me down, I want you to answer this question for Michael that I'm getting ready to tell him. I said, Michael, I'm gonna go to jail and I'm gonna get out. You're gonna go to foster home. Ain't no telling when you gonna get out. So he begged the police not to take me to jail because you know whatever you did to get that whooping, you deserved it.
Exactly.
But he never went to juvenile. One time they was downtown and he got caught. All his friends ran and he got caught. So I told the police when they caught me to tell them I'm not coming down there.
Right.
Let him think he going to juvenile, but I'll be down there. And I went down there and got him. So he never got any trouble after that. But as he got older, he got in trouble. He wasn't perfect. He wasn't a devil. I mean, he wasn't an angel, but he definitely didn't have devil horns. He helped a lot of people. I mean, he helps anybody that knew Michael could tell you that both of my boys were good people. They helped people. They would give them their clothes, shoes, feed them, both of them. Whoever it was, if you needed help, they'll find a way to help you out. If they took it from out of my house to feed you, they would. You know, they were good people, really good people. And this right here that I wanted to read what Michael said. He said, how am I happy? Now this was 3 days before he died.
Oh, wow.
So he says, how am I happy and unhappy at the same time? How am I gotta go through so much? And why don't I have no friends that I can truly trust? What I gotta do, leave or I die, go to jail for the rest of my life? How come all the real friends I had and knew there was 100, they dead? You know, why have these kids and gotta go through not knowing if I'm gonna be here for them? My mind just be racing. He said, I don't know, this some of the SHIT I think about, but I put it in God's hands and he's still making me suffer. I want to know what I did wrong and who I didn't help, what I got to do to be happy. It's crazy because he wrote that like I got a phone call. My sister called me and she said, Mary, is Michael dead? And I said, no, not that I know of. Let me call my son. So I called him first time he ever answered on the first ring. And I told him what Angie had said. And I'm glad you alive. I'm glad to hear your voice. I said, I'm going to call you back. Let me call her back. And I called her back asking her, where you get this information from? She didn't want to tell me at first. She playing around the bush, you know, beating around the bush. And she finally went on and told me where she got it from. So it came from jail. Somebody in jail called her and told her, and she called me and told me. So that's where the guy that I was telling you, they grew up in the Blue Mars with them put a lot of their friends' names on a list and was selling it to this guy for drugs and money, or either or, you know. But they killed my baby on an assumption. They killed his friend on an assumption. I mean, if that was the case, if you thought they was making money out here, well, golly, there's enough money out here for everybody in the city to make. Why would you kill somebody Who are you to take the life of somebody you didn't create? God created these people, not you. So that Monday, Michael came in the house. Oh, go back. That Saturday, I asked him, he came over. I had been asking him to change my bedroom around. He came in the house fussing about this girl's son. And I'm saying, is he bad? He not bad. He's such and such and such and such. I said, that's bad. And he went in there and he started moving the furniture around in the room. I said, now look at you, now you're trapped. When he got in that car, he was trapped. When they killed him, he was trapped in that car and couldn't get out. That was that Saturday. That Sunday, I asked him to go pick Michaela up, and he said he was busy. No, it was that Sunday. So, it's been 9 years, so my memory got to come back. I went and picked Michaela up from her friend's house, and I had two of the other kids, and where y'all want to go? Back to my house or over to your daddy? So they all wanted to go with Mike. So we all went over there, and my daughter came over there, and she bought pizza. The girl kids, she had 2 kids, they was there. We spent that Sunday together, and Michael and I was talking, and he was getting ready to go. I'm going to barber school this time, Mama, and I was asking him about his jacket and everything, and he told me his friend had, and I said, he gonna keep that? He said, no, he ain't. But when Michael died, he tried. I got it back. Yeah, but he came through the house that Tuesday. I heard a key. I'm trying to hurry up so I can show him I'm walking better and better each time. He said, Mama, if I never lived another day, I accomplished a lot of things. I helped a lot of people. I did for my kids. He said, I went places and did things and had fun. He sat down on the couch, he said, but I'm tired. And I'm like, not that kind of tired, Michael, because I need you. Your kids need you. Other people need you. That Wednesday, he was murdered.
Wow. Miss Mary, you go out, you support, you stand with other mothers. Where do you find the strength?
God, I said, I asked for mercy when Alvin died. When Michael died, I lost both of my sons, the only men I could trust, the only men I knew that would be there for me, would help me whenever I need them, no matter what, good, bad, or indifferent. They done took them. It's got to be for a greater cause. And I was thinking the other day, I said, and I posted it on my Facebook page, when my sons died, I said it's got to be for a greater cause. And when Jesus died, God said it's for a greater purpose. When Michael died, we had a severe thunderstorm. So I'm sitting up watching movies. My brother called, what you doing? I'm watching Jesus. It's raining. Why he's on this cross dying? It's pouring down rain. I said, golly, it rained when Michael died. I named him after Archangel. And I believe he went straight to heaven. And I believe if it's true, purgatory is true, because Alvin chose to be Catholic. He would take his brother and sister to Catholic church. So I would think, when Michael died, purgatory woke me up. Not 3 days straight, but 3 days in a row. So I got up, sat on the bed, and I Googled purgatory. And it was telling me, so I'm like, he done made it out of purgatory. Because it said, if you ever go to purgatory, you will never go to hell. So that made me feel good to believe, if it's not true, it's a good thought to have. Just like the butterflies, just like pennies from heaven. It's a good thought to have, to give you encouragement. And we don't know what God's purpose is for us. Maybe this is it for me. I know that God is not going to give me somebody to love so much and then they gone like that. No, I can't.
Have you had any justice for either of your boys?
No, we still don't know who did it to Alvin. I know one of his friends did. The streets talk.
Yeah.
And generally they're right. And Michael, the streets talk. The courts told me, the attorney federal attorney told me they know this guy killed Michael, but they need witnesses to come forward. So they didn't put his name in the indictment, but they know he killed him.
But the guy is serving time.
Yeah, they haven't been to trial yet, but they're seeking a death penalty. So if he gets the death penalty, to me, they're still solving Michael's case. So a lot of parents, I don't believe in a death penalty. You know, at one time I said, well, let me see. I Googled it up. God initiated it with Cain. You know, so I know the New Testament, things change, but I feel if this boy don't get it, he gonna get out there and kill some other people.
Yeah.
They say they a total of 17 people, him 9 people. If he killed that many people, you don't know how many people he killed that they don't know about.
That's right.
So if he gets out, who's to say he ain't gonna kill some more people? Because he feeling it in his blood. He got it. He got to. He is the scum of the earth. Who are you to take the life of somebody you didn't create? God created these people, not you. And if you don't get it together, you're going to burn in hell. Can you imagine? I want to go to heaven.
Oh, Miss Mary, you're strong, you're courageous, you raised 2 handsome boys
Thank you.
and a queen. I thank you for sharing your
Say
story.
we're gods and goddesses here on earth. And earth
God
is God's school. And we got to make the grade to get there. It's an afterlife. If it wasn't an afterlife, it wouldn't be a what? It wouldn't be a judgment.
Gotta have a judgment, though. In closing, I'm going to share Michael's daughter, Michaela Henning. In 2015, when Michaela was 11, Michaela did a research. She got an A. She did a research paper in social studies. And it was about the crime in the city of St. Louis.
You know, during
And
that
this
time.
is a child who lost her father doing research on homicide in her city. It's sickening. We got to do better.
Yeah.
We've got to stop killing each other. The
Yeah.
killing has to stop.
So, yeah.
No 11-year-old should be doing research. Let me just name a few of the places she researched.
And she had me to help her with this. So I did the car. I did this car with them in it, with her father and the girl. And I took a picture and sent it to her. She said, draw the house. So I drew the house. You know, I wasn't in it. I'm trying to get it. I could have did better than that, but my head wasn't there. And this is how the day was. We had a severe thunderstorm that day.
Oh,
We
wow.
had jackball size hail, if you could remember. You know, thunder, lightning. Hey, I heard the gunshots through the thunder, but I didn't realize it was my child. And I was headed over that way around 10 o'clock that morning. But when I stepped outside on the porch, it had started raining. And I didn't want to slip and fall because I still thought I was too cute to be walking with a cane. You know,
Right.
so I didn't want to fall. And I went back in the house and I kept trying to call him, He never answered the phone.
Wikipedia, Explore St. Louis, Riverfront Times. So you have an 11-year-old that Google searched and found out how many murders the city had that year. She talked about the Ferguson effect. She talked about riots. I think in the city of St. Louis, homicides are up more than 30%, and this was 2014. No kid should have to, and this was personal for her.
One of her teachers, I still got some pictures on my phone, but she had said one of her teachers had told her that she was taking her pain and putting it into passion or something like that, she was saying.
Turning her pain into passion.
Passion.
Yes.
So,
I thank you.
you're welcome.
We're here.
I didn't cry.
You can cry. You didn't, but you can.
I've been asking God to help me
That's
because I'm tired of crying. I am tired, really, I'm tired of crying. So I came across this saying that it grieves God when we are sad. I don't want to make God sad. I want to do funny things and make him laugh.
That's
Can
right.
you imagine making him laugh? You know, so.
Again, we thank you. Our community outreach organization, HUGS, helping unite grieving sisters, stand with you. You have a sisterhood with us. We appreciate you at any time that you need us. We're a phone call away.
Thank you. Oh, I didn't tell how we met.
Oh, okay, quickly. So this is quick. I met Miss Mary. We were down. Where were we, Miss Mary? What building were we in?
Carnahan Court Building.
Oh, we were at the Carnahan Court Building, and we were with then I think she was Prosecutor Jennifer Joyce, his assistant.
Right.
The Tuckers were there.
Right.
Tommy and Miss Tommy, Mr. Tommy and Miss Denise Tucker, Miss Mary, myself. I think the head of homicide.
And she was. And then I was a member of St. Louis Mothers in Charge, and Valerie Dent was there. Her sons were murdered, and I listened to everybody telling their stories, and then I said to Jennifer Joyce, I said, you know, I don't know if I'm right, but from what I heard, this certain person, the kingpin of St. Louis, they called him, killed my son.
You did say that.
And then they were on the case.
You did
And
say that.
when Kim Gardner got in office, and I called her office to see, I called every year. That was in 2017.
Was that 17?
It was 2017. I called her, because that was the last time I had surgery. And I was staying at my daughter's house. And so I called her office, and Lieutenant Green called me back and gave me the number to the federal court building and the attorney, Tom Ray, to call. He said he was handling Michael's case and not to call Kim Gardner anymore. And I guess because it was a state and Michael was federal, and she worked for the state. So it was on after that, and I never gave up. God woke me up to find out who killed my son, and I did.
Jennifer Joyce, I'm going to correct that. I think Jennifer Joyce was the circuit attorney, not the prosecuting attorney. I think she was the circuit attorney, right?
Right, whatever Kim Gardner is, that's what, the prosecuting attorney, right.
Michael's
And her
case
assistant
federal?
was Mary Pat Cole.
Right. Michael's case was federal. Is it because of the
guy, this kingpin guy?
Oh, okay.
So it's dealing with the Mexican cartel. I mean, it's a big mess. Yeah. It's on this.
But I thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.